Hello and welcome to the Anywhere Club's English community speaking channel. My name's Chris Howard, one of the English hosts. Thank you for joining us for another in our interview expert series here at the Anywhere Club. If this is your first time hearing about us, the Anywhere Club is a growing online community for IT professionals all over the world who are excited about furthering their careers, building new skills, and developing as individuals, whether that's learning new programming languages, whether that's helping with relocation, or even perhaps getting stuck down into some real challenging questions around programming languages and all of the other likes in the technology space. If you're not engaging with us already on our social channels, please do make sure to check out those links below. And today we have a fantastic session on the topic of demystifying AI. It's going to be a short kind of express session, really drilling down into some of those challenges, but also the myths that we're hearing around artificial intelligence and that growing school of thought. I'm really delighted to be joined by Zura, who is a product owner and a business analyst, but with a whole wealth of experience around AI, computer vision, machine learning, who's really going to kind of open our eyes and tell us a little bit more about some of the truths, but perhaps some of the truths that have been bent around artificial intelligence. So Zura, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for inviting. Yeah, happy to be here.
None of us can deny that artificial intelligence is transforming the world that we're living in, be that in our jobs, be that in our kind of day-to-day, certainly through some of the other interactions we're having with the apps on our phone and our browsers, etc. But there are so many myths, challenges, perhaps even lies flying around. I know we were reading an article previously around deep fakes and all of that kind of exciting topics. It'd just be great to get a few minutes from you on kind of where do you think we are in the whole world of artificial intelligence, challenges, myths, and then I've definitely got some more questions to deep dive in with you.
I suppose that's actually the normal situation when some new technology occurring in the market and people probably do not know kind of technical details and the concept itself. So that's where this gap of the knowledge, it's always the great space for myths invention. So that's for the whole human history, everything that we didn't know, we tend to mystify that. So there is nothing very specific about it. It can be AI, it can be blockchain, it can be any internet like 30, 40 years ago and so on. So and that's true in AI. Even right now, when we have like chatbots with whom you can communicate on a daily basis and chat on the different topics, including your personal one, and even decide some of your working tasks using the chatbots. So many of the users started thinking that these models are conscious. So I think this is a number one myth about AI, that this is agent and this is that has consciousness. But first of all, let's say at the beginning that right now even people cannot define what the consciousness is. It's a kind of very difficult question, and we still don't know a lot of mechanisms of working of our perception of our consciousness itself, and a lot of brain reactions and processes are still hidden from us. So that's why we cannot surely say about conscious or not conscious. But what is very important here right now, that's all of those generative neural networks, they are working with probabilities. And if we're talking about GPT is predicting the next word based on the probability to be occurred after the previous one, based on the huge amount of data in the internet. So that is more about the probability of next word. But we as a human, as people, we think a little bit different way, to my mind. This is my assumption, this is my theory. I haven't read any scientific articles based on that, but I suppose that we think the following way, So as people we speak, and if something speaks, so probably it thinks. So it's a kind of anthropomorphic approach when you are trying to perceive everything as a human from your human experiences, I may say. But in real life, their main engine behind this chatbots and behind this reply generation isn't consciousness. This is the hardcore math, which is showing what is the word with the highest probability to be right after good, I don't know, after the previous word. So I think that's a very, very important to understand that as is right now. I can't say for the future, yeah, I can say only for the current moment, but right now it isn't about abstract thinking. So what I think is different between people and robots, between people and algorithms, I may say, that people are thinking in an abstract way. They're thinking with their abstract entities, while algorithms are making decisions based on numbers. There are only numbers there. There is no kind of picture built on that. But it can seem for us because these numbers can be these coordinates on the some kind of the meaning. For example, in generative AI, if we have for the cat some kind of the coordinates, you may have the picture of the cat, you can have the cat as a naming like sound, you may have the text cat, right? And all of them semantically means the same. So that's how math transforms into this abstract way of thinking. And besides this consciousness thing, and I think which is quite linked to that people think that AI is agent. So that's all of their decisions and all of their, okay, how can I say, predictions made by itself, and they are agent without any influence from the outside. But that's not true actually, because any kind of neural network is built by people, by data scientists who are defining what kind of parameters will be taken into this model. And if they will bring some biases to this model, some their biases. So if we can say that this is agent, I don't think so, because it's like human made, and all the assumptions and all the outputs and conclusions that made by the neural network, the whole logic is set by people. So we are deciding what kind of correlations we would like to check. Sometimes we're missing some kind of very important correlations, and sometimes we use fake correlations, which are not actually representative. So here it is. I also would like to point out that all of the systems we're using right now, it can be different kinds, from, I don't know, music generation to the recommendation on the online shops, the multimodal GPT even. All of them are made by people, and it makes them not non-agent. So all of that are based on the data and on the rules you're setting during your development. So probably that's it. Sorry, I just started. Yeah.
I think this is all super valid, and perhaps actually we're not doing ourselves a justice by forgetting that all of these models are built upon probabilities, statistics, models, etc. They are ultimately, like you say, a very complicated mathematical kind of problem or probability matrices, whatever it happens to be, to spit something out at the end. But similarly, what already makes me kind of think out loud is that we're probably not helping ourselves further by then sticking on the front these kind of human looking kind of avatars that really then trick you even a step further into thinking that you're talking to someone with consciousness or whatever, because you're wrapping it up as a human.
Exactly. It's our perception, because we're like anthropomorphic, yeah, animals, as I may say. But that's true. That's true. If we see that something has features that are like only for humans in our mind, that probably it has conscious and it's thinking, it's doing, it's like how I say, can decide by themselves. Autonomy. It can be, yeah.
Definitely, which is a whole new conversation. But something I really want to pick up on is this idea of these models. And I don't want to say only being as good as, because I think that's the wrong phrase, but actually these models can only work with the material that's provided to them as that first stimulus. And actually, one of the questions that immediately comes to mind then is should these models be transparent? Will we ever have a day whereby I can explicitly ask this model, where did you learn this information from? How do I trace that back? What do you think about that?
This is very good question. Actually, you are touching the very hot topic in AI and machine learning. This is called explainability. So this is ability to explain why you predict this or that, or why you generated this or that, if we're talking about generative AI. So at the first stages, like 5 years ago, most of the machine learning products, they stated themselves as a black boxes. So you just put some data inside, you just something has happened in the black box, and after that you have an output, and nobody knows what is happening in this black box. But right now we know that there are many ethical AI, responsible AI. There are a lot of very logical, sometimes not logical, but mainly logical limitations to the AI, which should be applied to my mind. And here it is, we are coming to the point that the user wants to know where this output came from. And right now, the competitive adventure, this is the company who has this explainability, this their competitive adventure, because they can show their customer how this score or how this prediction were evaluated. So there are different kind of methods for the explainability. Even right now, you can in different kind of data science products, you have, like, for example, feature importance approach, when you have the list of your features and you can look how much weight it has. So how important this attribute for this expected behavior, and so on and so forth. So you can, but still, you're working with the big data. Yes, all of these assumptions are like overall an average, but this is like global thing. But also you need to have some tools in order to investigate this particular case. For example, you have very weird prediction, and yeah, you say, but it doesn't align with my expectations. Why model has done this? And here we're coming to the very useful tool which I'm using like almost on a daily basis. This is Jupyter Notebook, which is helping you to investigate cases like that, all of your edge cases. So those models who would have explainability, who would have an opportunity to break this glass ceiling with the end user, so that will be the huge advantage on the market. Because right now we're only touching and trying to build some kind of the practices, but there are no best practices yet. There are some of the approaches that works, but there is still no 100% thing that you can take this example and to understand the whole distribution of the influences which were made on it. So I think that this sphere, this area of explainability will be like expanding radically for the next like years. I suppose that probably in 1 or 2 years, like all of the neural networks would have some kind of the component on the UI which will show to the users based on what kind of correlations, input, training data this kind of prediction was made or this kind of output was made.
Very interesting. And an area I think we can explore a little bit more is you mentioned 5 years ago this whole idea of black box, etc. Many of the people listening will be aware that I'm a real advocate and passionate around open source. What is your view? Should these models be out there in the open for us to look into the code, maybe contribute, help shape that generative? Or should there be real value in actually, for some of these models which are building quite complex models? Let's take life sciences, for example, and the chemical interactions of certain things. There was a story some of you may have seen around actually one of these models generating toxic kind of weapons that could be used because it was released in open source. Where do you think that line is? Is open AI the future, or is it actually about being a bit more educated and governed, thinking on a case by case basis?
That's a very cool question, actually. Concerning the open source, frankly speaking, yes, I think that models should be open sourced, and moreover, I think that companies should reveal the training data sets because right now many people are discussing who is the author of the generated picture by DALL-E. But I think that more important, what kind of data was used in order to train this DALL-E. Because sometimes people work is used without any knowledge and people can generate some even profit based on that. But still, I think that models should be open sourced, and moreover their training data sets should be open sourced, as well as tests and validation data sets. So I think that transparency here will only help. Yeah. But concerning the regulations that you said, so I think that we need to understand that right now we have some kind of new precedents, as I may say. I don't remember if its word is valid here. I mean that it's completely new industry and we didn't have any experience to get these regulations. For example, if we're taking cars, right, for building this all of these rules that we have for drivers, it took a lot of time, and all of them are based on the accidents, on the incidents where these rules were after that conducted. So I think that we're stepping into this new kind of period when different kind of edge cases, different kind of negative impacts of that will be revealed, and only after that we can somehow understand how it should be regulated. That's unfortunately that's life. For sure we can be preventive and we could do preventive work. Definitely it's needed, but still we need to understand that in such practices, in such industries, the regulations are built based on the experience. For sure we need to think about the riskiest area, right? Like the weapons, like I don't know, risks to the freedom, risks to their lives and things like that, for sure. And by the way, I think that AI should be regulated, and even some regulations that are already on our plate. For example, European Union already confirmed the special rules for the staffing of people using AI. So they're saying that the final decision is always should be after the people, not the systems. And I think that's a wise approach right now. So actually right now I think that everywhere the human validation is needed. So my point of view, yeah, but still, I think that the quality of the regulations depends on the level of the expertise of whom they are setting there. So the authors of these regulations. If these people knows the industry, if these people are from the industry, so there are higher probability to make it more efficient for the industry itself, not limiting, but helping. And sometimes regulations and limitations, this is an engine for something new. So that's also room for creativity and growth. So yeah, I'm a little bit old schoolish here, and I think that regulation is needed. Yeah, I think that it's a kind of the tool. It's like a knife. You can prepare the delicious salad or a delicious meal, or you can be dangerous for people like trying to use this knife in a negative way. So, yep, regulation is needed, but wise regulations and also very, very linked with the experts in this field.
That's a perfect answer. And I'm in full transparency, given that's the topic of today. I'm also in the regulation camp around AI. I think community sourced regulation with the right experts, the right SMEs helping shape that, I think can, like you say, then drive innovation and ultimately make a better offering. So, in my final question, I want to kind of think about some of those headlines we've perhaps seen over the last few years. And I want to also kind of call out to the people watching from our community. This is, of course, a community about IT professionals furthering their career. How do you, and be honest with me, how do you see AI perhaps sitting alongside some of us IT professionals? Is it enhancing our roles? Is it taking our roles away from us? Is it a best friend? Is it an enemy? Where is it? I'd love to hear your thoughts on this one.
Yeah, sure. This is a very, very popular question. I think that everybody in IT industry just asks themselves about this because, yeah, it seems like there is a competitor, right? Yeah, yeah. But to my mind, if you think about programists from 80s, how do you think? Is it the same to the programists nowadays? From the bigger points of view, they do the same, they do algorithms, right? But before that, they used completely different approaches, completely different languages, capacity commutes, and things like that. But their core itself the same, right? Where their developers are writing algorithms and conceptual thinking and things like that. So I think this is the evolution of the sphere. So all the tasks, kind of simple, repetitive, and non-creative tasks, I would say like this, probably could be delegated to the AI in the nearest future. Yeah, so, but it doesn't mean that developers are not needed anymore. Why? Because we still need people to build these systems and architectures in order to define it from the scratch. And moreover, I think that the tasks of the developers will be changed. Like the tasks this developer from the 80s in comparison with developers in EPAM right now. So the tasks are completely different, but the sense is very, very close. Yeah, I think that would happen in future. The tools we will be using will be completely different, but the main core of the profession will stay the same. So as you probably know, that there are plenty of no coding languages already. So there are plenty of entry points where people can entry IT without even knowing their specific, like low level languages are not needed anymore. So I mean, not for everyone, but I need to enter the IT. Yes, they're for sure very needed. Yeah, so that's what I want to say, that then lower this entry point, then more supply you have. The more supply you have, then it will be higher for each of the candidates to get the demand, right? The huge supply, low demand, higher competition. This is actually what we're seeing this year after all of these layoffs and things like that. So I think it's more about the market right now. So about the economy itself, because there are plenty of the people who who started IT not so far ago and right now ready to deliver some results. Yeah, but the market isn't big enough for that. So, and answering your question, I'm quite sure that it will be different, that the tools, the frameworks, the languages, even the, I don't know, the abstracts will be different. But the core and the goal will be the same: to optimize, to automate, to improve, the productivity. As I will like step a little bit on the side. Yeah, we as a humanity always worked on the productivity, right? So all of this technology progress was about increasing our productivity. And I think that a lot of people are saying AI will steal our work, well, AI will steal our jobs. So, but if we look at this on the different point of view, so there are plenty of tasks which are not covered by us because we don't have time, we don't have capacity, a lot of very important tasks, political, economical, ecology, and things like that. There are plenty of things we need to decide, but unfortunately we don't have any capacity to. But AI can take all of this repetitive and all of these tasks that can be done automatically and give us some spare time and capacity to work on the fields which we couldn't improve before because we didn't have any capacity. So in case we can increase our productivity on such level that we work less and do some more efficient for the society, for the humanity, for your family, for anything. So isn't it bad? Isn't it bad? I think it's good. But here is a thing, the very interesting thing that I was thinking yesterday when I was thinking about our podcast, that this is actually how the self-fulfillment prophecy work. You see, we have a lot of sci-fis which are saying robots will kill the humanity and things like that, and we have like a clear picture of that algorithms will rule the world and it will be harmful and things like that. And here I will give you an interesting example. I would like to add that electrical cars, probably you have used it, right? And probably you have noticed that the sound of the engine is so unnatural, right? Because the electrical engine doesn't have any sound, but the car manufacturers decided to add the sound in order to bring this feeling of moving, right? And what I found out that this sound was created by Hans Zimmer. This is one of the popular musician, and he was inspired by the sci-fi films. So that's the self-fulfilling prophecy. That's what I'm saying, that he actually created the sound which was inspired by the sci-fi, and we bring it to the real life. Yeah, so, and why I'm talking about this, because I see that in artificial intelligence we have the same precision. That people have a lot of literature, a lot of sci-fi films, and we are a little bit biased here. But let's think in a different way. Let's think how can we increase our productivity and push our efforts to the fields where it's needed, but it never were before.
I mean, that was a perfect explanation in two ways. One in which you absolutely painted the picture of it becoming this incredible assistant, and I think I definitely am in that camp. I use AI, I use things like GPT to support me in some of those roles where I don't have capacity. I think absolutely, and we should see that and celebrate that. But secondly, I loved your point around supply and demand. And actually, if this widens up that net in terms of bringing more people into tech, bringing more people into IT and engaging with digital. And then by virtue of that increases kind of the quality, but also the innovation and all of that exciting stuff that comes around diversity. And I think that's a fantastic thing as well. So I think you're in the camp of it's an enabler, a kind of resource that we should take advantage of, definitely, and not necessarily in the doom and gloom camp of it's going to take our jobs and run away with them.
That's right.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for really giving us, and I'm sure we all agree listening in today, a kind of whistle-stop tour around some of the myths of AI, but also some of the reasons perhaps we shouldn't be so nervous and perhaps should embrace it a little bit more. You've definitely given some transparency around how these tools work and how we should be getting involved with them. So thank you so much, Zura, for joining us.
My pleasure. Thanks a lot for inviting.
If you liked what you heard today, then please do make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to share this anywhere. I've been Chris Howard, one of the English community hosts for the Anywhere Club. If you're not engaged with us already on our social channels, then please do get stuck in. Our Discord community is growing day by day, and it's a fantastic forum for you to get stuck in on some of those challenging questions around learning new languages, relocation, and furthering your own skills and development as an IT professional. It's been a real privilege to have you join us wherever you are in the world, and I'll be back very, very soon for another video in the Anywhere Club Interview with Experts series. Have a great day, and I'll see you all very, very soon.